Imagine a city so beautiful that even fire and war couldn't erase it from history. That's Dresden. A place where every corner tells a story, every building stands as a masterpiece, and every winter breeze feels like it's carrying secrets from the past. So buckle up as we're diving headfirst into its charm, armed with warm coats, big appetites, and absolutely no sense of direction. First, I need to apologize for mispronouncing many of the German words in this video, so don't grill me. Here we are, starting our little adventure at Zwinger Palace, and it's one of those days where the weather just can't make up its mind. Chilly and grey, but not so cold that you regret stepping outside. You know, the kind of day where you debate bringing a scarf, only to immediately regret not wearing one. But hey, we're here, and that's what counts. From Zwinger Palace, we're heading towards Dr. Kuhl's Ring, weaving through the heart of the city. And yes, I'm already mentally planning our first snack stop, because what's a walk without food, right? The streets around here are so balanced. On one side, you've got history whispering at you from every corner, and on the other side, there's this modern, lively buzz. And can we talk about how clean this city is? I mean, even the sidewalks look like they get a weekly spa treatment. We are now at Dr. Kuhl's Ring, and it isn't just a street. Actually, it's like Dresden's unofficial welcome mat, with shops, cafes, and people rushing by. And it's got this energy that makes you feel like you're part of something great. Did you know that Dresden was practically flattened during World War II, but the way they've rebuilt it is simply amazing. Dresden's history is absolutely fascinating and, honestly, quite emotional. And it's a story of resilience and rebirth. Dresden was one of Germany's cultural and artistic hubs, often called the jewel box of Europe due to its stunning Baroque and Rococo architecture. Before World War II, the city was renowned for its grand palaces, churches, and its vibrant arts scene, and it was actually the pride of Saxony. But then came February 1945, and in one of the most controversial events of World War II, Allied forces launched massive air raids on Dresden. The bombing created a firestorm that obliterated the historic old town, killed tens of thousands of people, and left the city in smoldering ruins. After the war, Dresden's rebirth was far from immediate. And under Soviet control in East Germany, much of the city remained a shadow of its former self for decades. Reconstruction began in phases, with some buildings restored to their former glory. This is the Frauenkirche, one of Dresden's oldest churches, and it has a fascinating, yet turbulent history. Also known as Church of the Holy Cross, it dates back over 800 years, and it has been rebuilt and renovated multiple times, mainly because it has faced more than its fair share of disasters, fires, wars, and even the devastating bombing of Dresden in 1945. It's home to one of the oldest boys' choirs in the world, the Kreuzchor, a choir tradition so old that it could have performed for medieval kings. And this church might not be as flashy as the Frauenkirche, but it's packed with history and heart. Back to our history lesson. So, once Germany reunified in 1990, Dresden launched into a full-scale transformation. The Frauenkirche, for example, was painstakingly rebuilt using original stones that were carefully catalogued and matched with modern materials. This process took decades but became a symbol of Dresden's determination to honor its past while looking forward. And stick around, because I am definitely going to bring you to the Frauenkirche later in this video. Dresden is located in the eastern part of Germany, in the state of Saxony, and it sits right by the Elbe River, which gives the city its picturesque charm. Geographically, it's quite close to the Czech Republic border, only about 150 kilometers north of Prague, thus making it a popular stop for travelers exploring Central Europe. To be honest, we are also heading to Prague, and we are using Dresden as a stopover. And we will also have a really very long video of Prague in the upcoming weeks, so do subscribe and hit that notification bell if you do not want to miss it. But, for now, I was hungry, and hey, look at what we have here. It's a winter market, and I am sure they have seasonal delicacies here, so let us go in and explore. The winter markets in Dresden are a real vibe, almost magical, and full of life, even on the coldest days. Though the famous street sale market, one of Germany's oldest Christmas markets, closes after December, Dresden still embraces its winter magic into January and February with smaller winter markets. They're like a little extension of the festive season, less crowded but equally charming. Just look at the pop-up stalls offering steaming hot drinks, cozy bites, and live music in the evenings. Here, you can enjoy local specialties like Saxon sausages or warm pretzels, paired with a glass of Glühwein. Dresden's winter markets aren't just about food, and they're about soaking in the atmosphere. There is even an ice skating rink where families and locals glide around under fairy lights. Well, it's not a massive setup, but it's enough to give you that winter wonderland vibe. Okay, who was I kidding anyway? Winter market for me is firstly equal to food. And I quickly found ourselves a table, with a nice view, overlooking the ice skating ring, and waited impatiently for my husband to bring the food over. And what a little feast we had! And pairing those amazing sausages with hot wine, while enjoying the ambience of this winter market, made this a perfect moment. Once I was full, it was time to continue our little adventure. Did you notice the blue pipes? Well, these quirky structures are actually part of Dresden's flood protection system. And since the city sits on the Elbe River, flooding has been a recurring problem over the centuries. So the pipes are temporary drainage systems installed when construction or maintenance work is being done on the city's underground water channels. We're walking past the Kultur Palast, which looks a little funky compared to all the Baroque beauty around here. Opened in 1969 during the East German era, it's a striking contrast to Dresden's historic skyline. It's home to concerts, theater performances, and a public library. And the concert hall, which is praised for its acoustics and hosts performances by the world-renowned Dresden Philharmonic Orchestra. That's the Taschenberg Bridge, which is actually part of the Dresden Castle complex, and the bridge connects the Dresden Castle to the buildings across the street. So, we are now around the Taschenberg area, which is famous for its elegance and history. The most iconic building here is the Hotel Taschenberg Palace Kempinski, a stunning luxury hotel that looks straight out of a royal fairy tale. This grand building was originally built in the 1700s as a palace by Augustus the Strong, Saxony's legendary ruler, and he had it constructed for one of his mistresses, Countess Anna Constantia von Kozel. However, during World War II, the palace was heavily damaged, but like much of Dresden, it was meticulously restored to its former glory and reopened as a luxury hotel in the 1990s. Opposite the hotel is the Dresden Zwinger, and it's one of the most iconic landmarks in the city, and actually a place where history, art, and architecture come together in spectacular fashion. The Dresden Zwinger is an absolute masterpiece of Baroque architecture, and it is a grand, open-air palace that was originally designed as a royal garden and pleasure palace. It was built in the early 1700s under the reign of Augustus the Strong, the same ruler who built the Taschenberg Palace. You know, the guy with the palace for his mistress. The Zwinger complex includes a large courtyard, surrounded by ornate buildings that house art collections, galleries, and even a museum of porcelain, making it a cultural hub as well as a breathtaking visual marvel. It's unlucky that the gardens were being upgraded during our visit, but they say that once you step into the Zwinger's inner courtyard, it's like walking into a fairy tale. And you'll see grand fountains splashing water into the air, intricate sculptures, and perfectly manicured gardens. Well, if you go there and you do see these magnificent gardens, do take a photo, post it on your Instagram and tag us. And we would love to experience it as well. As we look around, my husband pointed out that the way the Zwinger curves around, it feels like it's forming an almost circular shape, and it's all framed by these towering walls and archways. Let me give you some details about the Zwinger. And for one, it is home to some of Dresden's finest museums. The Old Masters Picture Gallery here displays works by Rembrandt, Vermeer, and Raphael. You can lose yourself in centuries of artwork here. And let's not forget the porcelain collection, which is one of the largest in the world. And those fine porcelain pieces are absolutely stunning, showing off Dresden's rich history of craftsmanship. The way the Zwinger is laid out was specifically designed to encourage movement. As you walk around, you'll notice the complex curves, and this was all meant to guide visitors' gazes and experiences, subtly leading them from one perspective to another, showcasing the beauty of the surrounding buildings, gardens, and fountains. If you look closely at the four corners of the Zwinger's boundary walls, you'll notice the pillars of power, also known as the porcelain pillars. These are monumental sculptures that highlight the city's porcelain history and are a nod to the Meissen porcelain that Dresden helped to perfect. The Dresden Zwinger is quite large and impressive, covering a total area of around 10,000 square meters. If you're just exploring the courtyard and outdoor spaces, snapping some photos, and enjoying the scenery, you can do a quick visit in about 30 minutes to 1 hour. But if you want to get the full experience, like visiting the museums inside, the Old Masters Picture Gallery, Porcelain Collection, or Mathematical Physical Salon, then you should probably plan for 2 to 3 hours. Ticket prices can vary depending on what you want to see. If you just want to stroll around the outdoor spaces, it's free. But museum entrance fees like the Old Masters Picture Gallery is around €12, the Porcelain Collection is €10, the Mathematical Physical Salon, I think is around €8, but a combination ticket for all museums should set you back around €20. The Zwinger is open daily except on specific holidays, and the museums inside usually open around 10 a.m. and close by 6 p.m. with the last entry typically about 30 minutes before closing. Alright, so now we're at Theaterplatz. And first up, check out that stunning building. And that's the Semper Opera House, one of the most famous opera houses in all of Europe. This legendary opera house is a true masterpiece of architecture. And built in the mid-1800s, it's one of the best preserved examples of the Italian Renaissance style in the world. The Cathedral of Sanctissimae Trinitatis, also known as the Dresden Cathedral, is another stunning gem that you can see from Theaterplatz. Theaterplatz is one of Dresden's most famous squares, and for good reason. And surrounded by a collection of stunning architectural gems, it has earned its place as the beating heart of Dresden's cultural district. It's where some of the city's most iconic buildings are found, and it's a spot that feels both grand and welcoming. Right in the heart of Theaterplatz, you'll see a statue of King John of Saxony. He was one of the most respected monarchs of his time, and his contributions to the arts, culture, and economy are still felt in Dresden today. The statue itself is impressive, towering over the square with a sense of nobility, and it's another great spot to snap a few pictures. The Dresden Cathedral is often overshadowed by the famous Frauenkirche, which we'll talk about later, but it's an architectural marvel in its own right. Alright, now that we've soaked in all the grandeur of Theaterplatz, it's time to head towards the Elbe River and the Augustus Bridge. This part of town offers some of the most breathtaking views of Dresden, and if you're into history, architecture, or just love a great view, you're in for a treat. The Elbe River is one of Europe's most iconic rivers, flowing over 1,000 kilometers through several countries, including Germany and the Czech Republic. And it's the lifeblood of Dresden, weaving through the city like a shimmering ribbon. The Augustus Bridge is like a doorway to the heart of Dresden. What makes this bridge so special is that it was one of the first stone bridges to cross the Elbe, and after it was completed, it immediately became a symbol of Dresden's wealth and power. This is the Schlossplatz, or Palace Square, and this is where the Dresden Castle stands proudly, and it's a place where you can literally feel the pulse of the city's royal past. On one side, you have the Dresden Castle, and just a few steps away, you'll find the Zwinger Palace. But what really catches your eye here is the impressive statue of Frederick Augustus I. If you're into history, you'll know that he was instrumental in making Dresden a cultural hub. And this is what I call an open-air gallery, because here, along this road, you'll encounter some absolutely stunning murals and paintings that transform the whole area into an artistic journey through time. As you walk down Augustusstraße, you'll see huge wall murals decorating the sides of buildings, and they're not just for decoration because they tell stories. These works of art are more than just splashes of color, and they're representations of Dresden's rich history, culture, and modern creativity. One of the most famous murals here is the Procession of Princes. And this massive porcelain tile mural depicts the Saxon kings and dukes in a procession, all the way back to the 12th century. It's an impressive, stunning visual representation of the royal lineage of Saxony. And the mural itself spans 102 meters and consists of around 25,000 porcelain tiles. As you noticed, it is starting to get dark quickly, and the winter season was not helping at all. But we still have one more location that we want to show you, so stick around and let us take a walk towards it. And even though the day is winding down, there's something magical about Dresden at this time. The streets themselves are a mix of old and new, with historic buildings standing tall next to more modern structures. As we walk closer to Frauenkirche, the surroundings start to shift. And the sun has already set, and the street lights begin to flicker on, casting a soft glow over the pavement. As we step inside the church, the change in atmosphere is immediate. The dome seems to hover above us, almost like a crown on the church, while the walls are adorned with Baroque-style frescoes and intricate carvings that make it feel as though we're standing inside a piece of living art. The church is grand, but not in an overwhelming way. It's as if the architecture is designed to embrace you, not just to impress. The entire church is Baroque in style, meaning every corner is filled with ornate details, from the grand pulpit to the altar, and even the ceiling frescoes. Let's talk about that dome. Because the dome is a masterpiece, sitting like a giant, beautifully crafted shell above the main hall. It's one of the largest single-domed churches in Germany and offers a perfect view of the sky above. This church was destroyed in World War II, and its reconstruction is a symbol of the city's resilience. And standing right here, you can't help but appreciate the journey of rebirth this building has gone through. The rebuilt church, especially the dome, looks just like it did before the bombing, thanks to a meticulous restoration. As we start walking back towards the hotel, the streets of Dresden feel different at night. The cobblestones glow under the streetlights, and everything just feels a bit more romantic, a little quieter. It's the perfect way to end a day filled with so much history and beauty. You know, there's something so peaceful about the quiet after the storm, especially when you're walking through a city like this, especially one that has seen it all, yet still stands strong, full of life. We take our time strolling back, passing by the places we've already visited, each one with its own story, and feeling incredibly lucky to have experienced such a beautiful city. So, what can I take away from today? Dresden is a city that knows how to mix the old with the new, the classic with the modern, and beauty with history. It's a place where you can wander the streets and feel like you're walking through a living museum, but also feel at home in the warmth of a local cafe. It's a city with a past that's shaped by incredible moments in history, but one that's always moving forward, making room for new memories and stories. If you ever get the chance to visit, I highly recommend it. And from the winter markets, the magnificent Frauenkirche to the stunning Zwinger Palace, and everything in between, it's a trip you'll never forget. And hey, if you liked this video, I've got something else you might enjoy. Dresden has a lot to offer, but if you're also curious about another German gem, why not check out my recent video on Heidelberg? It's got a completely different vibe, but the same kind of incredible history and charm. So, if you've enjoyed this little adventure through Dresden, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any more of our travel journeys. And remember, if you want to see more of Germany, check out my video on Heidelberg. So, just click the end card right here, and let's explore another gorgeous part of this beautiful country together. Catch you next time then.